My professor, Professor Connell, for Art 2, or 2D design, she pretty much told us we had to emulate a professional artist. Then I was drawn to this one lady because she had very expressive art, and it was of literally black silhouette paper, and that's all it was. But the expression behind it and the meaning behind it was absolutely like astonishing to me. Like I was very surprised that like you can get that much out of like something that was that flat looking, but like from just the outlines of it, like it told a story. We had to think of a place that we could install it, and it had to work. How about I make a soccer field? And from all the different pictures I have, we had, like every team always has their little names for all the different players and whatnot. That's just what teams do. And being able to make all the different figures actually go in a diagonal, and if you stood in the perfect spot, it actually looked like you were looking all the way down a playing field. So I started like with the 100-year-old Russian, and he was there, and he was like the starting person about to punt the ball halfway, like pretty much almost the full length of the field to one of his teammates. And then we had backwards arm man from Ukraine, and he's the one that progressed the whole piece. Like he was running down the sidelines on the far side. Then you always have the tackles in the middle area, and I had a picture of that too. During the Ireland and Iran game, we had I had the finishing product of the whole piece. I had an Iran striker and an Ireland defensive back, and then the goalie. And they were guarding their net because that striker was just coming down the field full force. There was a little collision there and everything, but pretty much I made it literally so that you were looking at a playing field of all these different countries coming together, fighting for one thing. I had never done t-shirt making before. So Mr. Thompson, another teacher at Monacan High School, he gave me this new idea. So then I was looking through, and it was like some of the first times that I've ever been here to the Chula Vista Training Center, and and I met Wes and I met Jerome, and I asked Wes Williams, I was like, hey, can I use this picture? And I'll actually make you an extra one. Actually quite a few extras, so you can hand them out to your family. And he was like, yeah. So then it was the very first stencil I cut out. I used Photoshop, and I put just the corniest little line down there. Wes is my homeboy, and it brought a smile to everybody's face. Everybody thought it was comical. It was awesome. He was wearing shutter shades. It was like the perfect little stencil for me. So. The watercolor is a spring up in Wayne, Maine, where my best friend has a lake house. And I try to incorporate the spring going out into the lake, Pocasset Lake, and he really wanted, his grandma and his mom both always wanted a piece of my art because they had always seen all my other pieces. So then I was like, hey, I just took this awesome picture, and I want to try to incorporate all these different pieces into it. So even like back in the woods where the red house is, that's actually not there, but it's in a different spot, and it's actually a white house, but it looks cooler in the woods as a red house. So I took little pieces from here and there, and then it is actually hanging up on their wall in Maine right now, and they love it. My feat was a very, I would say, young childhood cartoon memory, because we pretty much had to make a vase that you could hold flowers in it, hold whatever you want in it. But I was thinking of when say like a cartoon character would jump into a barrel, and all of a sudden he would lift it up, and you would see the little feet at the bottom of it, and then they would go scurrying across the little whatever the scene was. And so I put these huge, like pretty much life-size feet on the bottom of this little vase, almost like it was a cartoon. I had just gone to Springfest outside of the Richmond Raceway in Richmond, Virginia, and I saw her in concert, and she was awesome. Then I went back to school it was an exam project, and it was making an image through words, and that was the assignment. And I was like, this lady has extremely good vocals, extremely good lyrics, and how about I put her own lyrics into an image of herself? So I found an image of herself that I really liked, and with the spacing, and bunching and size of letters, I was actually able to form pretty much almost a portrait of her face, which actually came out great. Purple House was actually a very risky move for me. It was done with chalk pastel, and it was a chalk pastel assignment, and we had to do something with architecture. And I found a fun house, and I ran with it. It was ugly, it was black and white, so I was like, I'm gonna put cool colors on this. So I chose blue and purple. At first I thought it looked really weird being a purple house, but then with the contrasting blues and very light blues, and then with the ground being perfectly normal and the background and the sky being perfectly normal, it came out to be a really awesome piece, and it's probably one of my favorites from my high school. Tigerfish was inspired by my sister. My sister was transforming her room because she loves the beach just like my mom. So we had already painted her room and changed a lot of things in her room to make it seem more like beach-like. So the only thing else she needed was 2 nice paintings. I love watercolor. I absolutely love it. And I asked her permission, and she was like, do it. And it's still in her room, and that was probably one of my favorite paintings that I did, just because it was so bright and colorful.